Hey, good morning everybody. Good morning, it's me, Frederick, and we're gonna have a cup of coffee here. We got the water on, the dishwasher's going. But today, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite films. It's one you might remember. It's called Independence Day. And you remember it's the original with Will Smith as the pilot and Bill Pullman as the president. And I'm going to talk to you today about one of the characters you may never have considered in that film. And he plays the role of Cass. And I think the best way to start off with this is to read from my book, Hey, Fear the Beard. Hot. The best way, I think, is to give you a little bit of background. And so in the next 5 minutes, we're going to have a little bit of an inspiring lesson, I think. So why don't we just sit back for a couple minutes and see what we can learn from that movie, Independence Day. We're back. Now, let me just read this for you because I thought it was pretty inspiring. So this is Independence Day. It's a movie out there, just some background. It came out in 1996, and it was written by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich. It's directed by Roland Emmerich as well, and it's from 20th Century Fox. I told you Will Smith is in it, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Robert Loggia, Randy Quaid, and you're going to find out that Randy Quaid's character, Russell Case, is the hero, the unlikely hero. Now, here's some background on Independence Day. And the theme of this little message of inspiration this morning is called Battling the Destroyer. All right, here we go. So, Captain Stephen Hiller is a U.S. Marine Corps F-18 pilot. Now, when alien destroyers begin attacking Earth, Hiller is just the kind of man you'd expect to rise to help lead the human resistance. His training and experience has prepared him for this moment. Now, David Levinson is another likely hero. He's a computer expert working as a satellite technician. And he uncovers the aliens' invasion timetable, and he comes up with a plan to defeat them. Now, Thomas J. Whitmore is the U.S. president, but he's also a former fighter pilot in the Persian Gulf War. So you aren't surprised when he personally flies a jet to attack the alien ships. Now, here's the cool part. The unlikely hero in Independence Day is Russell Cass, a former Vietnam War pilot, and he's a widow. He lost his wife. He's raising 3 children, all on his own. And while he does have the makings of a hero, Cass's problems work against him. His oldest child has no respect for him because Cass is an alcoholic. Worse yet, for 10 years, he's made these outrageous claims that he's been abducted by aliens before. And you know what? When he tells people of his story, people don't believe him. He doesn't seem very credible. But while the other characters are fighting for survival, Cass has a personal motive to counterattack. And as he flies toward an alien destroyer, he says the classic line from Independence Day. Ha 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 ha! Hello, boys! I'm back! And when his missile jams and it won't fire, Cass takes his jet and he rams it into the opening in the underbelly of the ship, and he sacrifices himself to wipe out those aliens. Man alive. He found their weak spot, and later pilots used this knowledge to wipe out all the other destroyers. Now, just to let you know what that looks like, I'm going to take you over to the TV. We're going to watch a movie clip, and then I'll come back and wrap up. Independence Day rocks. So let's go have a look at this video clip, and that way you can understand what I'm talking about. This guy was a hero, but an unexpected hero, right? He has problems, you know, with alcoholism, but let's have a look here, my friends. Well, is it going to work?
We're not done yet. This power is attack. Doesn't anyone have any missiles left? Sorry I'm late, Mr. President. Better get hung up back there. Pilot, you armed? Armed and ready, sir. I am Captain. that guy? Put on speaker. Pilot, identify yourself. It's me, Russell Case, sir. I told you I wouldn't let you down. Just keep those guys off me for a few more seconds, will ya?
Okay, Echo 9 or Echo 7. Take flanking positions. I want you to look after this guy, okay?
All right, boys. Let's give Mr. Case some cover. Gentlemen, let's plow the road. We'll throw him off and it'll be all yours.
Oh, look out! I'm through!
I've got tone. Eagle 20. Box 2. Eagle 20. Box 2. It's jammed. It won't fire. Yeah. Do me a favor. Tell my children I love them very much. All right, you alien assholes. The words of my generation.
Dad, what's he doing?
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. Good luck, buddy.
Oh man, you know what?
Wow.
I don't care who you are. I got goosebumps just watching that. Little dusty-eyed, got emotional, right? Like, you know, this guy was willing to give his life because, you know, he took a look at his kids in the picture and, you know, he wasn't about to give up because the missile wouldn't come off the ship, right? He decided to fly right in that sucker. Oh man, that gets me going. Anyways, let me read a little something for you. The coffee's good this morning. So, now that you've seen what I'm talking about, it's not difficult to find a parallel between these aliens who travel from planet to planet, destroying all life. And now for those of you who like read the Bible or you're Christians or whatever, this will probably speak to you. But even those of you who don't, you know, there's a very real battle that happens in the world between good and evil. I don't care what belief system you have, whatever your higher power is, whatever your God is, it's not hard to look out and look at the news and look in the world and you see evil, but you also see good. So this can speak on many levels. So there's this parallel. Demonic forces, evil, out to destroy humanity. And now, on one side, evil's general, Satan, he's the chief of demons. He is the epitome of all that is bad. You know, the destroyer. And like Case, you know, the guy who was in the airplane there, many of us have been like just abducted by evil. We've been sucked into evil forces. You know, we've been taken captive by the general of all evil to do his will, you know. Sometimes we don't even know we're working for the enemy, you know. We're perpetuating evil and we don't even know it sometimes, you know. Whether the enemy wants to destroy ourselves through or other people, but he wants to destroy us. He'll use anything. For me, you know, he's used drugs, he's used promiscuous sex, the occult, the snares of the enemy are run wild. The enemy can use anything to take you out, especially if you're trying to live a good life, be a good father, good husband, good uncle, good mother, good daughter, good auntie. I mean, when you stand up and are counted as somebody who's making a difference in this world, who's helping others. You know, I talk a lot about people helping people, or, you know, when I get days off, I like to go help the homeless or help people who are unfortunate. You know, if you start living a life that's making a difference, it seems like things come up against you. You're like, all I'm trying to do is make a difference, to do good in this world. And like all hell breaks out around you. It's not an accident. Because if there is always a battle between good and evil, then when good starts to rise, evil has to rise to take it out. But I believe that if you persist and you persevere, good will come out on top. Now, having found freedom in Jesus, we are now fully aware of the strategies that the enemy, that the devil uses to ensnare people. We know his end game is to destroy, to kill us. You know, we know that he only comes to steal life, you know, and to destroy life and to wreck life. You know, it's like the enemy of your soul doesn't want you to succeed or something, right? And when it comes time to rise up and fight, we get motivated because it's personal. The same way that those aliens abducted Case years ago. And at the same point, they were about to destroy the world, which included Case's kids, his sons and his daughter. And he wasn't about to stand by and let that happen. Not on his watch, you know what I mean? So he was willing to lay down his life. He sacrificed himself. He died by driving his F-18 right up into the heart of that son of a bitch. You know what I mean? And the ship explodes. The aliens are dead. And because of this one man's courageous act, you know, it helped others figure out that's how we bring down the ships. That's how we take out what's trying to destroy us. Because that guy showed us how. You know, and I love that. Now, here's a saying. It says that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual forces of evil and wickedness. Right? Your problems are not your neighbor, or your family member, or your friend, or your boss, or your co-workers, or your employees. It's not against people. Because if the destructive force out there is like invisible, then you gotta believe that it's not that person that you're pointing the finger at, saying that that's your problems because of him or her or anybody else. Because that's a lie. The truth is, if evil is a force in the world, it needs to take people out. So why not keep people fighting against each other so no good actually takes place? If we're constantly bickering and fighting amongst ourselves, then very few people will actually ever step out and do something that breathes life into the world, right? So here's a question that this book leaves us with. It says, have you ever found yourself in a battle against destructive forces? And of course we all have, right? What did you do to combat those destructive forces? Were you successful when you did it? Quite often, you know, we think that we got to fight this fight alone. And I believe that's the biggest lie out there. You cannot fight the fight alone. You were designed to work in a community, to work in a group. You function your best. You become your best when you know your role, as The Rock says, know your role. And you play the part that you're meant to play while others play the part they're meant to play. And you have this awesome force now, this group, this community, this people that are focused on making a difference in the world. And really, you know, the ripple effect of that touches the globe. Because I love that. Sometimes all we can do is remain faithful to our higher power. Remain faithful to God. You know, knowing that He is the one who will eventually save us. He'll help us fight our battle. I think when we put the pressure on ourselves to have to figure this all out and to fight all the time with our own strength, I think you eventually fizzle out and you die. Because you're not meant to take on a force in this world that is against anything that's good. Evil is a real destructive force in the world, and you can't battle it on your own. You can try, you'll have some victories, but eventually it'll take you out. if you're on your own. So get connected to people, your family, your friends, build these relationships up. Because in your darkest hour, it isn't a book you want beside you. It isn't a movie. It isn't a bank account. It isn't toys. In your darkest hour, you want a person, a human being. You want people by your side. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever stood up to evil when you were afraid? Some of us have, And yes, there comes a time when you need to have the courage and the integrity to stand up alone when nobody else will stand. But here's the thing. You'll never stand alone that long. And I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but sometimes all it takes is you, that one person, to stand up, to rise up. And that empowers somebody else. That gives courage to somebody else because they see you and they're like, man, that guy's right. Man, I'm going to stand up with him. Soon there's 2 of you. Then there's 3 of you. But it does take somebody to stand up. Maybe that person is you. But we get that courage from outside of ourselves. Just like the evil, destructive forces in this world are outside of ourselves. I believe that the big guy upstairs also is like allowing people to tap into him and his resources and his power, and goodness then rises again. But we got to be armed, right? We got to be armed by stepping into the battle, stepping into the fray. Don't forget to put on your armor. There are things that you can put on, and that, I believe, is relationships and people. You need to be empowered by others. But yes, you can have mentors and teachers and counselors and friends and family. They all breathe life into you. And yes, books are okay. Books and reading and music, and they pour life into you. They breathe into you. But you get all this stuff coming into you that strengthens you. It's like an armor that gets put on you. Because when you have all this life breathed into you, you have to realize it's there for a reason. You now need to fight this good fight of faith. You need to now breathe life into the world through the things that you've learned, through your experiences, the things, I have had a lot of difficult things in my life, and I believe that there's this redemption that happens when I can turn this thing that was meant to destroy me, with the big guy upstairs guiding my way. This bad, destructive time in my life can now be used for good, because I can recognize things in another person's story and go, hey, you know what? When I was going through this is what happened when I chose that, and this is what happened when I chose this. And other people can listen to your story, and it helps illuminate their life and their story. And sometimes that's all you need. You need another story to shine a light on your story so you can keep moving forward, if that makes sense. So my friends, that wraps up today. Independence Day. Who would have thought you could learn something about life from Independence Day? A great action movie from 1996 with Will Smith. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow. God love you. And remember, RUAH, R-U-A-H, is about breathing life into the world. You need life breathed into you, and then you breathe life into the world. God love you.